What's up, everybody? Well, today, I'm in my studio. What up, Mr. Fademan? Good morning, Scotsman, Manny, Morgan from the T Dot. Everybody here, Whirlwind. I love the wave. I'm gonna wave back at you guys. You guys are waving. Yo, Kel's waves. I wave back. Sing you a song. Really don't want to feel that pain of me singing you a song. Yeah, it was a cool interview with Jelly, with Bubba. I'll tell you something, Bubba. We had a good conversation offline too. He's good people. He is good people right there. You know what I mean, Bubba? Okay, guys. So, Zinni Bop, all you guys out there today, we're joined by, there he is, Bobby Fino, Arian Foster. Arian, just join me live right now. Just hit let's go live, or let me see if I can do it with you. I think I asked you, but you can ask me, and we could just go live. What's up? What's up? What's up? There he is. Wow,
My guy,
what an afro!
it's beautiful, man.
You look like a BUA painting come to life. I'm just like,
Man, you can paint me. I ain't gonna say no to that, man.
how long you've been growing the? I didn't really want to talk about hairstyles, but how long is that? How long you been growing that?
Not too long, maybe like 7 months, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And are you still up in Los Angeles? Or are you?
No, we drove back to Houston. We back in Houston now.
Let's talk about Houston because for a lot of reasons, too many to name right now, perhaps too many that are politically incorrect. I'm thinking of departing Los Angeles. I think California is great. There's a lot of great things about it, but the civil liberty aspect of California in general is perhaps not the best place in the world to be. So let's talk a little bit about, what do you think about Texas?
As far as what is concerned.
Civil liberties, what life there, perhaps standard of living, everything.
Right. I think when you talk about civil liberties, are you talking about the whole lockdown stuff? Right.
Because I heard Texas is kind of
they're
up and running.
Yeah, they're opening back up, but I mean that's a whole political conversation we'll delve into. But as far as Texas, I mean I don't mind Texas. I'm not a like I have kids here, so I live here and I'll be here. I always have a home here, and I'll have a special place in my heart for it, just for the simple fact that it helped me fulfill my childhood dream, right? But I'm not a big fan of the weather. Like it gets like hot here is just different kind of hot. It's like hella humid and it's just not my cup of tea. As far there's no property tax. That's a plus. That's a big plus.
This is my studio, by the way, Arian. This is my
tax, no state tax.
state tax.
Yeah, state tax. Yeah.
Yeah, the California Franchise Tax Board is fun to deal with.
Yeah,
so.
No, there's high taxes in Cali, man. But yeah, I mean it's cool though, man. I think it's a big oil and gas city in Houston. So it just depends on a lot of what you're looking for. Like if you look like the art scene and stuff like that, there is an art scene here, but it's nothing like LA or New York or nothing like that. But I think somebody like you who I think is so dope, I think your online presence you can really work from wherever you are, honestly.
I think I could work from anywhere in the world at this stage, which is kind of nice. Yeah. People talking about quarantine, but I've been quarantined in my studio pretty much my entire life.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I'll show you my Dilla piece that I just got framed.
Yeah, let me check you out. That's crazy.
Just got that piece framed, ladies and gentlemen.
That's crazy, man. Stupid talented.
It's hard to see with the reflection, but if you go up close,
it's so detailed, dog. I love it. That's hard. What influenced that style that you have? That elongated limbs and like. what influenced that? Like, how did you start out? Like, because it's dope as hell.
Only Arian Foster will flip it and become the interviewer
My
from.
fault. My bad. My bad. Let me...
No, I'm kidding. You know, I think just growing up, knowing that there was a possibility to do something other than what was classically out there. Because coming from New York City, I used to visit the MoMA, the Met, the Natural History Museum. We used to play tag in there, Ring Ilario in there. So I was like, and the possibility of graffiti, which was omnipresent in New York, it was all over the walls, all over the subways, all over the cars, the trains, Riverside Park, Central Park, Rocksteady Park. You had Bill Blast, Futura 2000. Forget it, Revolt. I knew that there was a possibility beyond classical painting or an integration of that. Plus, Arian, I think when I saw Good Times and I saw the paintings, the painting, on Good Times that, JJ did, but we all know Ernie Barnes did it, and the famous painting of Sugar Shack, I was like, oh, that shit is possible. Like, you could paint people of color, you could paint distorted, elongated people. I didn't really know about Thomas Hart Benton and everybody that he was looking at, but I said, oh, there's the possibility to create scenes of life as it was in my neighborhood. I knew it was possible. So I think that painting, which was blasted out across every boob tube in the world, and I think it's something like 1/4 of America had seen that painting because it was on Good Times, and there was only 5 channels. So that painting, I think, single-handedly allowed me to see the possibilities of expression beyond when you're a painter, you just have to paint, mythological themes or biblical themes. It went way beyond that.
That's dope. It's dope.
So I think I was influenced by that, and also just the fact that we were all fucking crazy. We were crazy kids, and we were distorted. So we saw the lens through a distorted, angle. Everything was like, whoa, crazy. And I was a b-boy more than I was much like you, Arian. We're both athletes. No, I'm kidding. You're a real athlete, and I was like a little kid street athlete.
Right.
But I think that the angles of breaking, which at the time was called physical graffiti.
Mm-hmm. I used to write, man.
Oh, you did?
I used to get up at 1 a.m. with my paint cans and go hit up trains and hit up sidewalks, and I used to do the whole deal, man.
And where were you raised?
I was raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you just how tall are you?
6'1".
6'1".
Yeah.
And so were you how did you get into your physical? Because let's be honest, I think the greatest athletes in the world have to be football players. It's like I mean, we could argue that till we're blue in the face. Some people are going to say soccer players, some MMA, but MMA doesn't have the pool, the selection that football does. Every person in the world wants to be a football player, but you have to be you have to escape injury, all the way into the pros. But you have to be excellent beyond excellent beyond excellent beyond excellent. And I feel like the gene pool for that is like, of the trillion, of the billion people that want to do it, only a fraction of people do it. No. Were you always just an athletic phenom? Was that just or did you work hard for it?
I think it was a combination of both. I think I was probably more skilled than the kids in my neighborhood, right? The people I grew up around naturally. But it was always somebody better. So there was somebody faster, stronger, quicker, just better. And so I always took that as, I guess ego has a lot to do with it, honestly, because you don't want to admit that somebody else is better than you. And so in your head, you justify it to death. Well, they just had that, or they just had this. And as a kid, I would hear about kids across town who were ballers. And I used to be like, man, bump that. I'm finna be better than them. And so I took my I was naturally gifted for sure. I took that and I just worked my ass off. Like when I was like 12 years old, I remember riding my bike to hills and running hills at 12 and shit like that. So yeah, I think it was a combination of both. Like I got lucky with the gene pool, and then hell, working hard is low key genes too.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say to be a great painter, you have to be a hard worker. Like, you know, Picasso says uh, two things. A lazy artist has never produced a great piece of work, which is true. Like, if you're going to be a great painter, you got to be really driven and really working hard.
Yeah.
And how do you know you're inspired unless you have a pencil in your hand and you're already painting? In other words, inspiration exists, but it has to find you working. I just pinned a guy that said, this guy is nuts. Basketball players are the best athletes. Look, basketball players, the thing is, you have to be, you can't be, you know, the Spud Webbs, you know, are Muggsy Bogues, this many people in the world. You have to be a certain height. So I feel like because of the whole tweener thing, you're losing a lot of the gene pool. And I would say eventually MMA athletes will be the greatest. And that's why you see people like John Jones, who is an absolute phenom, and his two brothers are in the NFL. And you have to say, you know, when the money goes there, then you're going to find the greatest athletes. And that's why John Jones is a dominant.
I think it's like it really depends. It's kind of contingent on your definition of athlete, right? Like, what do you mean by the most athletic? Because,
right,
like when you start to get to like professional sports, it's like your skill is so skill specific.
Yeah.
That like LeBron James is a great athlete, right?
Great
But
athlete.
Like, if you line him up at tight end, he's gonna look horrible for the first 6 months he tries to do it because his body and his mind just isn't trained to do that specific skill set. So like when you say it just depends on how you define it. Like, I guess the most transferable I think would probably be football, but not all football players, right? Like not all linemen can.
Well, a lot of football players have come into MMA, you know.
Well, yeah, I think football has the most transferable skill set. So, like, it's basketball is like it's like really vertical. Like everything is really vertical. There's not a lot of going forward or side movement. It's not a lot.
Right.
With football, it's like you're so multi-directional. I would argue soccer is probably more athlete than basketball because you're doing so much.
Yeah, soccer
and direction is way more. And football, I would even narrow it down to like a certain position, like maybe like a corner or even a running back, corner, or a receiver would probably be the most athletic cats on the field. Or safety.
And then you got people like Bo Jackson and Dion, and those people are just. I mean, they can do anything.
Back corner, see?
Yeah, corner, exactly. And that this gentleman says as an exercise science major who looks at athletes all the time, I would say football. He's basically saying NFL guys. Well, okay. And of course, my assistant says soccer all day, but that's okay. We're not going to. Who cares? Point is, you came up as an incredible athlete, and did you draw at all? I mean, you said you were writing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
talk to me about your drawing. And by the way, Kareem whooped Bruce Lee. He didn't. I love Kareem. He's a good friend of mine, but let's be real here. Yeah. Okay. So what were you drawing as a kid? And perhaps is it possible for you did you have a thing that you drew as a kid?
Well, so the way I grew up was like I was in love with hip hop. So like all of it. I used to break dance. I used to write graffiti. I used to rap, and I never DJ because you had to have money to DJ, and I didn't have that. So so I used to do it all. I used to love the whole four elements of hip hop thing. And it started out just like doodling in class, but then like you get around, you know, your crew, and you figure out what hip hop is, and you figure out what they're writing. And you kind of emulate. I grew up around really talented cats that could like draw their ass. I'm talking about like insane. And so I used to just copy what they did and kind of try to find my own little lane. I mean, I never really did because I just wasn't in love with it like that. But like, I mean, to this day, like if I have a pen and paper, I'll just like doodle some faces or, you know, old words. I used to tag. What was my name? Elas, ELAS. So I used to like spray paint that shit on walls, and hella irresponsible, but I used to do that. Yeah, I fell in love with that. And so, but I mean, you know, right? I mean, any honest person will know, like, do I have a talent for this? Like, I did not have a talent for that. Like, I could doodle, but it's nothing that I would be like, I'm not an artist like that. Nah.
Okay, but is there something that you did doodle as a kid? Is there something that, like, I have a lot of friends who were like, when I was a kid, because everybody draws. It's one of those things that we all do collectively. whether we continue to do it or not, that, most of us don't, because at some point someone has said, you're not good enough, you're not talented enough. What do you think, you can make a career out of this? Are you insane? It's almost like, what are you going to be, an NFL running back? Come on.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. There's a trillion guys that want to be an NFL running back. You're one in a trillion. So when you look at like art, what was it, when you go back to your childhood, what was it that you used to draw?
Faces. I used to love drawing faces, and then like whatever my name was at the time.
Okay, so let's do something right now for fun.
All right, let's do it.
Go back to your childhood and draw something that you used to draw, and I'll draw a face along with you. I'm going to hand off the phone here.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
All right, let me go get a pen and pad.
There you go. Everybody, wait.
All right, hold on.
He's taking. I like that background. What is that? Whoa, that's crazy. Why didn't you get into graffiti? I did get into graffiti, and graffiti was a vehicle for me, but I was never great at graffiti. So I'll be real with you. Like I was good at my black book, but I was never really I never had great can control, and I had a lot of friends who were incredible at it. So contrary to public opinion, I was not great. I was, I hate to say mediocre. I wanted to say I sucked, because mediocrity, Picasso said I'd rather be a shitty artist than a mediocre one, because you can't, somehow mediocrity is just the last bastion of shittiness.
Back, baby.
Okay.
Back.
Okay.
All I could find was this notepad with a Sharpie, so whatever
That's all. Hey, I'm gonna do a face with you. I'm just gonna do a quick little head as well. We're gonna flip the camera around.
I'm shit as an artist.
By the way, I did that during a live. I did that during a live session the other day. I did that. Did during that a live session. That was a live session over there. That was not a live session, but this is my studio. But yeah, I'm gonna do a quick little face.
Gotcha. All right, let's do it.
Arian,
You gonna talk to me like Bob Ross, man?
I'm gonna talk to you like, I feel like we all have to really get back and I'm gonna do a profile, I guess, right? So.
All right, me too.
Okay, well, and however long you want to take, I'll take. If you take 2 minutes, I'll take 2 minutes. If you take 1 minute, I'll take 1 minute. If you take 5 minutes, I'll take 5 minutes. It's up to you.
I'm gonna end up watching you, man. You can tell it's different by the way you hold your utensils. Is just way better.
Oh, there's no better. There just is. Don't get it flipped. We all draw. I mean, it's like language. We all speak languages. We just stop drawing. That's the thing. And to people to, say that they don't draw. Oh, I can't even draw a stick figure. It's like, it's not true. We have a innate ability to do these things. We just forget them. We bury them. Just like we have an instinct to, for certain things, we bury our instincts. We you know what?
Oh man, I thought I was killing over here.
You are killing. Just the fact that you're doing it is killing.
I hear you, man. I definitely hear you.
So, Arian, what are you doing these days? What is your thing? Are you emceeing? Because your lyrical skills are kind of extraordinary. I was a little shocked, to be honest.
I appreciate you being shocked, man.
I'm keeping it real with you. I was impressed, as was everybody cutting the video for me. We're like, holy shit, this guy can read. You're not like, there's a lot of people that come out with albums. I'm not going to say any names, Shaquille O'Neal, but like, or whoever, but they're not, perhaps they're not meant to be rappers. So is Is that a fun thing, or you like that's a career thing?
No, so I've been making music since probably around the same time I started drawing, right? It's just
Okay.
real young, real young. And plus I'm a writer, so like I fell in love with poetry and stuff like that. So as a kid I used to make music, but it was just I didn't have the tools to make it good and harness my craft like that. But as time grew, I harnessed it and I cultivated it, and it's something that I love. It's something I'm passionate about. And I'm actually signed, man, to Mass Appeal, Nas's label.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so I got one more project coming out with them. But as far as uh, like what you're talking about, I understand the reluctancy listening to people's music, because I think a lot of the time what happens is people enjoy what music does for people, like as far as like the instant gratification, but they don't necessarily respect the art enough to to put in the 10,000 hours, you know. And I've definitely done that. So like I care about the art, like I'm a student of music, and I just love it. So
And have you met Nas?
yeah.
Nice guy, huh?
Yeah, super cool dude, man. My
I
God.
did I did a show with him at Masterpiece Cervantes Theater in Colorado. I did a live painting while he pretty much did his uh, mostly his old stuff.
That's hard. We gotta make that happen, man. If I do like a little charity event, you trying to make that pop?
Absolutely,
Let's do
100%.
All right, man. I done shaded this as much as I can shade it, bro.
There we go. I'm done. There you have it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it was a quick profile that I used to doodle as a kid.
Hard. That's hard. All right, here go mine, bro.
All right, let's see.
I should show mine first.
All right, I like that. That takes me back to like almost the 1970s New York City train line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And we kind of did the same character.
Low key, right? That's wild.
It was like weird.
You gave him a mole, man. Let me get my dude a little.
Your nose is a lot bigger than my nose.
Damn. Facts. That's dope, man.
Hey, so go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like you should do this with people and be like, all right, we're gonna draw a tree or whatever case, and see it had like different. Because I remember one time I was talking to somebody and they was talking about engineering music, right?
Yeah.
And like if whoever you give your music to, like to mix it, like to EQ it and all that stuff, like she told me something like, imagine handing somebody a paintbrush and say paint a tree, and everybody will do it differently. So like each engineer, you have to find like one that like kind of brings out what you're trying to convey. But that's pretty dope. It'd be interesting to see a whole bunch of people do that with you.
So Aaron, I want you now to write your name like you're signing an autograph, like you're signing a check. Okay. Write your name and hold it to the camera.
Gotcha. On the same paper?
Same. Well, it could be on a different piece of paper. Here's why: because I really believe that your signature is a painting. Everybody that signs something is putting out a piece of art, whether they like it or not. These signatures are. We all know what Picasso's signature looks like. We all know what Dali's signature look like. We know what Einstein's signature looks like. Yeah. We know what all these people's signature look like, and it's actually a projection of who they are themselves.
I agree 1,000% with you. And to take it further,
okay,
when I was a kid, and all the way up until college, actually, I would just sit there and practice my signature, because in my mind, at the time, it meant success. If somebody wanted your signature, it meant success. So I used to practice it all the time. So much so that I got in trouble. Like my mother's in the chat right there. Ask her.
I was like, who is that?
That's mom. But I used to practice my signature all the time. My teachers would get mad. Like I used to do it on desks, on walls. It was horrible, but I did it. And I just really believe that once somebody wanted your signature, that's what success meant. So I used to practice it all the time.
You know, it's an interesting thing, because even though people say I'm not an artist, I can't draw a stick figure, those same people are the people that practice their signature, which if you look at hieroglyphics, if you look at early calligraphy, it's all painting, it's all drawing, it's all a symbol of who you are, a
Right.
projection of how you want to put yourself in the world.
I
So
love
let's
that.
see your signature. Now, Arian, I want you to name 2 things you love about your signature and 1 thing you would like to change about your signature.
Okay. I love how, and I actually got this from one of my buddies. So a lot of us used to do this actually. So I don't know if you know who Matt Bush is, but he was the #1 NFL MLB draft pick in 2004. I went to high school with him in San Diego, and we were both practicing our signatures. We had that in common, and I saw him tail off at the end like this, and I thought that was the dopest shit ever. And so to me, it just like it left it up to the imagination of the viewer, and I
Okay.
loved it, right? And so one thing that I wish I could change about it is this F. I cannot stand drawing Fs. Fs are horrible to draw. They're just, it's not like an artistic letter. There's so much rigidness to it. But like everything else, I fuck with. Oh, one more thing I love about it.
Okay.
I think that's because I'm gonna say you're the only person that ever asked me about signature, so I'm using it.
I'm a weird guy.
So I take this F and then I cross the F and I do the O and the S at the same time. It's dope.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? And it has kind of this there's an artist by the name of Jose Parla who comes from the graffiti world, and he basically does letters. And he does letters on all kinds of surfaces, like wood, which is like benches, like the writer's bench in New York City, on canvases. But that signature really reminds me of kind of a Jose Parla. It's got a hybrid graffiti, calligraphy, signature feeling. I love the line to the O to the T. It all, to me, that's a great connector. And that O, or that abstract O, kind of is getting it feels like it's talking to the other O next to the F on the right side of our screen of the F. It's a very weird thing to say because we're analyzing a signature, which, by the way, that is a whole art form unto itself, and there's people who get paid top dollar to do that.
1,000%. My mother's signature is unreal.
Yeah, you know, well, here's the thing about my mother's is too. My mother's 82, but everybody from the old school has just better penmanship. There's a degeneration of penmanship as we've gotten into the digital age, and people have forgotten how important lettering is. And my grandfather was a professional letterer. That's what he did for his entire life. He just lettered comic books and billboards, and that's what he did. He lettered.
Do you think that? So that's an interesting question for an artist. Is what do you think about just cursive in general kind of dying out or being almost obsolete in a digital world, right? Because kids are just everybody's typing. So like the actual writing for it, what do you feel about that?
I feel like it's a sad reality because I think that your writing is, like I said initially, a projection of who you are or who you want to become. Like you said yourself, you worked on your signature since you were a little kid.
Yeah.
Because that's really the ultimate quintessential projection of Arian Foster. I worked on my signature as a kid because I wanted people to know BUA. I used to write Justin BUA, and then I just became BUA. And then my signature, you know, was brought into Illustrator. You know, it was modified. It was then I got it patented. You know what I mean? So like my signature became like really emblematic of my art and who I am. But I'm a painter. So I think that everybody, though, signature is really an invaluable connection to who they were and who they are and who they want to be. So when you say, is it sad? Of course, because to me, it is the essence of you, and it's human. It's still analog. It's still analog. There's something about the brain to the hand as opposed to the brain to letting this virtual digital piece of machinery which is the same for every single person. When I write Justin BUA, and everybody writes Justin BUA, it comes out in Helvetica, in Arial, in Futura, in American Typewriter, in any font you want. But it's not you. You can say it's you. Hey, make me a logo. I'm doing Kim Field's coffee line right now, and I'm designing all these letters and everything. But at the end of the day, what she wants is a little bit of BUA. So I'm also doing some hand styles. Because otherwise, why would she hire me? She can hire any graphic designer, any branding company could do that for her.
Yeah.
But no, she's hiring me for the feeling. So no, we need to continually write in cursive. We need to just write in general. I mean, my cursive is terrible. I'll be honest with you, Arian. I write like this. My whole thing is. Oh, let me get perhaps a chiseled pen. I mean, Arian, I write. Let me get a couple of these pens. I got a Sharpie, like the old school ones that used to hit on the tree.
Yeah. Stop signs.
Something that I'll sign a book with. Perhaps a flat chisel. This is good. And I don't know what this one is. This is a pilot. This is a palette marker. This is good too.
Yeah.
So when I write, we get close on this. Oh, that's terrible.
Can you turn it around? Camera.
Oh yeah.
I can see what I'm doing.
Ooh. Let's see. Here we go. So this pen sucks. Okay, this is garbage. All my pens dry out because I don't really
use them like that.
That's all right. But this pen sucks too. And there's something also about that sound, right?
Yeah, that one's like nails on a chalkboard.
I like this. This is the pen.
That's the one.
This is the pen. This is the one. This is the one you want to use because it's juicy. I like the juiciness.
Yeah. That's hot. Yeah, that's graffiti right there in my mind. It's those subtle details that I used to fall in love with.
God. And it's the energy that we could add, right? So it's like,
Quotation marks.
Boom.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It took me a while. It took me a while to understand. Well, it was always a part of my life, right? But it took me a while to understand how important art was to our culture, like how influential it was.
Sorry, that J. I fucking hate that J. It's driving me nuts. I'm looking at the J like, I want to fuck.
Yeah.
This is what I think of the J. The J. I love Arian. I love your name though. That's beautiful. Look at the E. Fucking E.
Killed it.
Look at the R with the energy. The R is going. The R is still, dude. The R is still a running back. Look at the R.
Let's see.
Right? It's crazy. The A is cool. The I, but my J is just pathetic. I don't know what happened to my J. I got to work on my J. This is why I write BUA. Actually, I never. You know how you have to think about what was yours? F's.
Yep.
Mine was a J. It's really weird, right? So perhaps, and this is all really crazy, but perhaps there's something about myself and the J that I need to fix.
Psychoanalyzing your signature.
Well, because I never write Justin anymore, and right. Every time, and then now when I'm looking at my J, like I like that, and The BUA, and the BUA, I'm not even worried about because I write it so much.
I think it's I think it's because the J isn't like everything else is pretty symmetrical.
Yeah.
The J isn't very symmetrical. I think that's what that's the uneasy feeling I get about it.
It just feels like this. It feels like like nah. Everything else is like, yeah, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, I'm here. The J's like, I don't know. I'm not feeling my J. That's all. But it's interesting, right? Because all of a sudden we have that, and it's like, oh man, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I feel you.
Okay.
It takes time.
I got another fun thing for you guys. Fix your J. You fix your J. Okay. Let's do a fun thing. I've done it once before. Check this out.
Right,
Arian, I want you to do 9 dots. Okay? I want you to do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All right.
Now, I want you to have 4 lines that you can't take your hand off the page. In other words, you have to draw 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to connect the dots with 4 lines without taking your hand off the page. So in other words, I'm going to do it wrong for you, so don't do this, but I'm just going to do it here. Jose, you want to get a little closer? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, I didn't get that dot, okay? So let's see. Let's do another one. This is a pretend one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, didn't connect all the dots. So I want you to connect all the dots with only 4 lines. 4 lines only.
All right.
You can give yourself a couple of tries.
All right.
And by the way, guys, this is a brain twister.
No question.
And Zenko33 says, I have the best lives on IG. And Zenko, you were absolutely right. I only have the best lives because we're getting into people's lives with my lives. We're getting into the psychology and the essence. You know this one, Svet? Don't say anything. And by the way, I know this one, and I never did it right. Or I never.
Yeah.
There is a clue. And here's a clue. You have to take your brain away from the patterns that you are used to. You have to think critically. You have to think outside of the box. You can't adhere to parameters and boundaries and walls. I think that's a good amount of clues. Yeah, Gillespie says think outside the bed. This is real as hell. So,
but hold on. So I can't go past a dot like outside of the confines of that box.
I never said that.
Oh, okay.
But I said you can't take your hand off the page. You can't take your hand up. You got to do 4 consecutive lines. Yeah, this is going to fuck you up. Don't worry about it. It's good. It's good for your brain. I've done this with a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's a brain.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see what you got. Let's show everybody. I'd really like to see the camera on you if possible, because then I'm getting a connection of your brain to hand.
I haven't done it yet.
Okay, just give me one. Just give me one so that we can get through this together.
It's tough though, because
it is what it is, and you know what? You got to fail right before you do it right.
Yeah, but I don't like failing.
Of course you don't, because that's why you were an NFL superstar, because that's the difference with you and the rest of us.
So I can't do this, right? I can't come out here and then.
Why not?
Oh, but shit, that's easy then.
Straight lines, though. They have to be straight lines. You can't curve.
Okay, you said straight lines. Okay.
Yes, sir. A couple of rules to the no rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So let's see.
I'm not going to be rude, but I'm gonna hit a little Jeopardy soundtrack. I should have one, right? Do do.
I don't got it, man. Let's see.
Everybody try this at home. Everybody's got a pad and paper. Arian, why don't you just do a first one and then do a second one?
All right. All right.
Here we go. Here and away. We go.
Go. Fuck.
One.
Oops. One.
One. Everyone try this at home. Don't. Okay, you got to connect the line. Okay. One.
This ain't gonna be it.
That's okay. Two.
I hate this.
3, 4. Oh, you're missing one dot. That's great,
Yeah.
though.
I see.
But you've discovered a nice G.
That is a fire G.
Okay. So as Arian tries this at home, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And this is brought to you by... Let me tell you, man, there are so many of these exercises that you... Okay, everyone, is everybody doing this at home? I want everybody, it's so easy. Grab a pen and a pad. You're doing 4 lines. It's not easy to do. It's just easy to actually draw along. You're going to grab a pen and a pad, and you're going to do 4 consecutive lines without taking your hand off the page. You could feel Arian's brain. I could see your brain projected onto the...
Yeah, this is horrible.
Okay, Emmanuel Lolona 616. I'm trying, but no cigar. Paul's doing it in his brain. Svet saying it's more fun to watch. Free Range Kings. What's up, my good brother who's actually commissioned me for work? He says yes. Arian is in the matrix of it right now. He's got 1 line. Corey, you're not an idiot. You're just trying, dude. This is life. This is like you fall down, you get up. Okay, Arian's got 1 line. 2 lines.
What is the answer, bro?
Okay, hold on. Let's see the answer. All right, there we go. Okay, and away we go. 1 line. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to go past the box. 2 line, past the box. 3 lines, past the box. And 4.
I hate that.
What? Okay. Listen.
All right.
Listen. We had to go outside the box, not once, but twice. The information that's there that we all think is there is not there at all. We have to find our own way in the matrix. And sometimes we have to go outside what we think is possible.
And
don't believe what they tell you. Don't believe the hype. Know that there is another path, and perhaps there's 2 other alternate paths to get there.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I hate that.
Listen, dude, when I first saw that, I was like, I swear to God, I must have taken like 100 tries, and I was like, I cannot fucking. I really did. Anyone figure this out on their own? I don't think I did, and I'm a real outside the box painter.
Same.
Like,
I think the issue is because of how the rules are explained. You think this is how it's supposed to be done, and it's that supposed to be that fucks everybody up.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, and there's a lot of those visual brain twisters, because I feel like, and I don't know the studies on this. I'd be so interested. Like, our cultures that, I always say that aliens, if there were aliens that landed here, they would draw better than we would, because we don't draw what we see. We draw what we know. We draw from here. We don't draw from our eyes. We draw from here. So when everybody goes, oh, draw a head, everybody goes, well, head's like this. And you're not even looking. Like, that's not a head. That's iconic drawing from your imagination, not from this reality. So it's the same thing. It's like, you got to be almost, from another planet, because then you're not already subscribed to the rules that we're given. So we're immediately going, you can't go outside the box. You have to do that. You know what I mean? You got to. So, you got to take the vaccine, whatever it is. You got to really, figure out how not to maybe subscribe to it.
Slip that one in there, huh?
Did I? I mean, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Whatever that is. So, you know, you got to be able to kind of get there on your own. But I think it's a good exercise, as I think drawing and doing your creating your signature is a good exercise. You know, as is just kind of revisiting your childhood imagination. What did I do as a kid, and why did I feel so spiritually uplifted as a kid?
Yeah.
And you know, also like, well, you know, there's something magical about drawing and painting.
Yeah.
So where are you now? Like, what is the next iteration of Arian?
Geographically or just existentially?
Existentially, spiritually.
So right now, man, I'm just using this time to kind of just dive into myself, enjoy doing the things that I love doing. It's kind of like you, like everything that I was doing before this popped off was in-house. So like right now, like this is my little studio. So you got my camera set up,
Nice.
this is like my little gaming and podcast and going live little area. And then upstairs I have my music studio. And so I just bounce back and forth from there. I got my nightstand full of books that I'm diving back into. So I'm just using this to like just creatively get inspired and just diving into who I am.
Okay.
Which is, I think that's the thing that a lot of people are finding out, is that free time isn't necessarily your friend, right? It's what do they used to say, the idle times are the devil's playground.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real thing, because I've been fortunate in my life because I've been retired for what, 3 or 4 years now, and so and just off rip, it sounds amazing having a bunch of free time, a bunch of resources, and it is. But unless you really are good with yourself, sitting down and trying to figure out who you are, like it's torture. Like it could be torture, and so you have to mitigate that with trying to figure things out on your own.
Arian, what's your favorite color?
All right, so science is on the fence on if black is a color or not.
It's a color. Science it's an absence of space, right?
It's an absence of light.
Absence of light.
Yeah, and so if we want to call black a color, then
let's call black a color, because John Singer Sargent and Degas, a lot of great artists called it a color. So let's keep it a color.
All right. So if it's a color for this for conscious conversation, we're gonna say black.
I mean, if it's not, then all these colors here are not colors, because I got blacks everywhere.
Well, it's because white is the accumulation of all colors, and black is the absence of color. If we're talking about just the spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum. But I don't want to get off technical. So usually people ask that question, I usually say black. But if they don't grant it to me, and black is not a color, then I say blue.
Okay. What do you think your greatest contribution to this world thus far has been?
Oh. Man. Well, that's a heavy question. I think for the little audience that I do have, for the people that follow me and the people that follow my journey, I think I've given them a solid template to, one, be human, be themselves, be okay with being themselves, and to question things in a way that is rational and beneficial towards the progress of humanity.
Very cool. Who are your favorite artists, visual artists?
Visual artists. You definitely.
And then we could go to. Sorry, say that again.
So you're definitely one of them. That's why I started following you a while back.
Thank you.
Love your style.
Thank you.
There's a guy by the name of Blue the Great. He's one of my good friends that I caught him like real early before he's like doing things with all these brands now. He's really blowing up, and he he started off with this mummy style. Like he started rapping everything he did like with the mummy things, and it just looked really dope. Everything just became really unique, and that became a signature thing. But now he's extremely, he's a great artist. But like that's what he started as kind of his home base, and he's just really dope as an artist. Classically, I loved Dali, Salvador Dali. I loved his paintings. I really do enjoy. I don't know how painters feel about this guy, but I love Banksy, man. I love political art. Like I love Banksy.
Yeah.
Obviously, Basquiat was dope in the sense of abstract, like real abstract. Like I didn't get it, even like up to like a year or two ago. I didn't really understand it. I was even like, yo, Basquiat is whack. But like when you really like take the context out of like what I feel art should be and just really like listen to the artist visually, it changed my perspective of art in general.
Yeah, I think he took the gallery world and gave enough street energy and cultural energy to his work that people realize that you could do more than that. More than just have to be, a classical guy or a street guy. It was kind of a blend. So I could see that. Who's the greatest athlete of all time? I mean,
my mama gonna say me, but
yeah.
I would go with Muhammad Ali for the simple fact of what he did with his platform. It was more than any other athlete.
That's a great answer, and I will actually second that motion, and then I'll come in with the Michael Jordan after. I'll say Michael Jordan did his job, but Steve Kerr said this. I'm just paraphrasing. I'm stealing it from Steve Kerr. Michael Jordan did his job better than anyone ever did any job ever.
I don't disagree with that.
I mean, he played basketball better than anybody ever did anything. Better than, I mean, goddamn, man, almost better than Michelangelo sculpted. I mean, better than Rembrandt painted. Like, you're not going to get better than that at what he did.
It's most successful. I hate to use the word success, but most people who are well versed in their craft can relate to his mindset at the time, right? When I think that's the difference between good and great is like people can have stints of that mindset, but he just didn't go anywhere. And so you have to become literally obsessed with the goal you're trying to accomplish. And I like I said, I experienced stints of that where that's all I cared about, and it showed, right? But there came a time in my life where it's like, how important is football to me? It just wasn't. Like, so I just wanted to explore other things of humanity. But like Michael Jordan was like basketball, like that's all, which is dope. But
it was everything in basketball. It was genetics. It was mind. It was drive. It was everything. Just God, Jesus.
Yeah, but
are you watching The Last Dance?
Oh yeah. I just caught up. I missed 2 weeks in a row, and so it was a really good day the other day. I just been watching 4 hours of that shit. It was.
I'm actually surprised. Have you met Jordan?
No.
I mean, I'm surprised at how candid he is.
Right.
Because we have this image of Michael as being kind of stoic and distant, but he's so freaking honest. That's what makes the documentary so great.
No question. And I don't play expectations on celebrities anymore. You probably feel the same way because you met a lot. But like once you kind of see the unveiling of the facade of what fame is, you realize they just people. And so like you hear like stories like, oh, he was an asshole. Like, or maybe he just had a bad day, or like, whatever the case may be, like, or he wasn't in the mood to sign the kids, or whatever the case may be, right? So it's like I don't listen to people's like opinions of how a celebrity is, because like you just never know what moment you caught them in.
I recommend anybody out there, and I just have a Michael Jordan piece that I am re-releasing online right now, but because of The Last Dance, it's like I'm just so inspired, and I think as an artist, I look at what he did and what the Chicago Bulls did as a team, and I just think like, wow, that was really not about, you know, of course, is the money in play? Of course it's in play, but it's really about the drive and the game and the love. And like, that's what it boils down to, right? The love. At a certain point, you don't really have to do it. Michael Jordan didn't really have to do it, but he loved doing it. And
Yeah.
just like you were, and I feel the same way about painting as you did about football, which is like, you know, sometimes my heart's not all in it all the time. And that's
Right.
just the fucking truth. I hate to tell you, I go in and out, and I try to get myself inspired. Like I said earlier, Picasso said, how do you know you're inspired unless you have a pencil in your hand, you're already painting? Inspiration exists, but it has to find you working. You have to keep grinding through it. You have
Yeah.
to go to baseball to find basketball again. And you
Yeah.
got to do that in every journey that you're in. Sometimes you got to, and sometimes you can't go back to something like football because it's a brutal young man's sport.
And I'm okay
Painting,
with that. I promise I'm okay with
yeah,
that.
yeah, no, I know, but you know what I'm saying. Like basketball too. Like any sport
Yeah.
is a fighting is a young man's sport. So breaking is a young man's sport.
Yeah.
You know, painting. Luckily, you can do until you know until you go. You know, look at the Rolling Stones. They're still performing around the world. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
man. But I think it's just. I think it all boils down to love. You
Yeah.
know, and just trying to figure out a way to rediscover it, I guess. And so it's cool that you've taken your love and you're putting it into your music, you know, because that deep love and the essence of you, if you take it out of one outlet and you plug it into another, it's the same electrical power. It's just another outlet of expression.
I saw this dope quote. I think his name is Austin Kleon, something. He wrote a book about art. And he was saying that, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm going to butcher it, but he was like, different passions that you have, it's like a severed limb. Like you can cut it off and you can ignore it, but after a while you have a phantom pain, which was extremely dope to me. And I could relate to it so much because I felt that my entire life. Like there was always like, I always felt like football was like my vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
But like there was so many things that I was interested in and wanted to do. And it drove me more than honestly football. Like poverty drove me for football, like first and foremost, right? But like I never woke up and was like, yo, I want to play football today. The motivation was never like, I just want to get on the field and show my art. It was never it. I used to wake up and say, this is what I have to do in order to feed my family, right? And so those are two different things.
It is.
But now as an adult and I'm at where I'm at, I'm able to wake up and say, this is what I want to do. Like I wake up loving what I do. And so that's just it. Honestly, it's a privilege. And so I'm extremely appreciative of it.
Someone wrote Austin Kleon, Steal Like an Artist. Is that
Man,
what it is?
yep,
Okay.
yep,
I just pinned it right now.
Yep. That's dope ass book, bro.
Well, look, man, I am, we're at the end here because I'm getting the time remaining, but it was amazing seeing you live, talking to you, picking your brain. Thank you for giving the world what you've given us and continue to give us with your music. Everybody follow this gentleman right here. And, you know, maybe I'm driving to Denver. Maybe I'll swing through and visit you. And you're outside of Austin, right?
Yeah, I'm a little more southeast in Houston.
Maybe I will swing by, but I'll give you a buzz, man. Thank you so much, brother.
Man. Much love, brother.
That was fun. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Love everybody.
Yes,
Love you, man. That was incredible.
Much love. Pleasure's mine.
Thank you, man. Peace.